Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about the M query. M query, also known as the M language or Power Query Formula language, is the underlying scripting language used for data transformation and manipulation within Microsoft Power BI, Excel, and other Microsoft products. It provides user a powerful toolset to perform various data transformation tasks such as cleaning, reshaping, and combining data from multiple sources before loading it into a data model for analysis and visualization. Now let's discuss some key features of the M language. The first key feature is the data transformation. M language allows user to perform a wide range of data transformation tasks, including filtering, sorting, grouping, pivoting, and unpivoting of the data. Users can apply these transformations to prepare data for analysis and reporting. The second point is extensible. The M language is highly extensible, allowing the users to create custom functions and reusable code snippets to automate repetitive data transformation tasks. Custom functions can be defined within the Power Query editor and reused across multiple queries or workbooks. The next one is step-by-step transformation. M language operates on a step-by-step transformation model, where users build a sequence of transformation steps to shape their data. Each step generates a query that can be previewed and modified before applying the final transformation. The next one is the error handling. M language provides robust error handling capabilities, allowing the users to detect and handle these errors that may occur during the data transformation. Users can define custom error handling logics to manage exceptions and ensure the data quality. The next one is the seamless data integration with Power BI and Excel. M language seamlessly integrates with Power BI and Excel, enabling the users to access and transform the data from a variety of sources within their analytical workbooks. Users can write any M language formulas using the formula bar interface with the Power Query editor over here. So if we talk about the applications of this M language, where is this applicable? So M language is used for data preparation and transformation tasks, including data cleaning, data normalization, data enrichment, and data aggregation. Then it is also particularly useful for extracting and transforming the data from semi-structured and unstructured sources, such as JSON files, XML documents, and web pages. Then M language is essential for building data models and analytical solutions in Power BI and Excel, enabling the users to create structured data set for analysis, visualization, and reporting. If you want to summarize it, the M language is a versatile and powerful scripting language for data transformation and manipulation in Microsoft Power BI and Excel. Its rich functionality and integration with other Microsoft products make it a valuable tool for data analysts, business intelligence professionals, and data-driven decision makers. Now, we will be going to the Power Query and we will be using this M language and we will see a variety of functions. So these are some of the functions that I have written over here and we'll be using some of them. Particularly, M language can be used for taking out the data, extracting data, transformation of the data, and various other tasks. So we'll be looking at how to find out the dates over here. So we'll be using some date function over here, where we'll be looking at how can we find out the date is in a year, date is in a quarter, or month, or week, or any day. Then we'll be talking about the adding and subtracting of dates, where we can add some days to date, add weeks, add months, add quarters, and add years. Also, we will see how to subtract the dates. Then we will talk about the date functions again. And these date functions would be extracting the day, month, year, or any day of the week name or month name from a particular date column. Then we will be looking at some of the text functions over here. So let's go to the Power Query and see how can we create this M language. So over here, whenever you are in this Power Query and whenever you are loading any data set, let's say I have loaded this text functions. So I have this data set where I have this various customer names where I have the full name of each of the customer. Now we will see how can we apply the transformation on the top of it. Also, the next data set that I will be working on is this date function, where I have the column with multiple dates inside it. Now, whenever you are loading this data set, you might have seen that on the right hand side, we have this applied steps. So we are not doing anything. We are just choosing the new source and inputting the data set in terms of Excel workbook or any CSV file or any other data source. In the background, what it is trying to do is it is creating some of the steps over here. Now, all these steps which we are looking at right now are recorded in the background in form of some M language. So if you want to see it, what you can do is over here, we have this advanced editor option. So if you go in this advanced editor option, you can see all the steps related to this particular data set. Now let's talk about these steps. So the first thing to notice over here is that it is break down into two parts. The first one is the let, the second one is the in. Let over here asks for our input. So whatever input we are giving to Power Query, it is stored under let. And over here in the in part, we have the output that we want. If you look closely, right now only 3 lines of code have been added over here inside let. The first one is the source, where it is asking us that where is this file located. So let's break down this code a bit. So over here, if you look closely, so let's start from the third line over here. This is the change type, which is basically the last step. And over here, we are also taking it into the output over here. Then it is asking us that what is the change type? I mean, what is the input inside that change type? So over here, you can see it is trying to transform the column types. Over here, what would have happened is that whenever we have loaded this data set, it was transforming the column types and it was detecting what exactly is in the column. So over here, you can see that it is trying to detect the sheets, then it is trying to detect what column is present inside it. So my particular data set contains a column by the name of column 1. So it is showing us that it contains the column 1 and it is also detecting the type of that particular column and it is date. So this is in the third step. Now, if you talk about the step above it, what exactly is inside it? So over here, you can see that it is trying to detect what is the source of the file and how many items are present inside it and what is the kind of that. For example, is it a sheet or is it a table over there? In the first line of code, it is trying to detect the path of the source. And it is also telling us that it is an Excel workbook. And over here, this is the particular path of that Excel workbook. Now let's say if you are making any changes to your data set. So for example, right now what I'll do, I'll cancel this and I'll do some operations on the top of it. For example, let me just double click over here. And let me change the column name to date. After you have changed the column name to date, you can see over here, I have now 4 steps over here. This last step is named as renamed columns. Again, if I go to the advanced editor option, over here, you can see a new step has been added and it is telling me that the 4th step name is renamed column. Now over here, again, I'll break this down for you. So if you look closely over here, it is showing you the name of the previous step. So whenever you are creating a new step, it is also referencing the previous step over there because it is making changes according to the previous step. So over here, you would be able to see the name of the previous steps also. Also, when I was trying to change the name of the column, I was basically renaming the column. That's why over here it is showing you the step as table.rename column. Now from where this function came, we'll be taking a look at it in a while. Then it is also telling you that previously the column name was column 1 and then the column name has been changed to date. Now let's say if I want to change it to any other kind of text. For example, let me just clear this and I don't want to rename my column as date. I want to rename it as order date. For that, what I can do is I can directly go in this advanced editor and over here in place of date, I can write order date and click on done. You can see the column name has been now replaced to order date. So this is how you can go in the advanced editor and you can do the changes over there also. So particularly whenever you are interacting with this UI over here and you are performing any transformation on the top of your data set, it is being recorded in form of this applied steps and in the background, it is being recorded in the terms of M query or M language. Now let's say if there is any other colleague of yours and they are working on the same data set and you have applied multiple data transformation steps on the top of this data set. Now what you can do is you can just directly give them this code. For example, if I go to the advanced editor and if I just give them this copied code. So for example, all you need to do is you don't need to give them the file, the cleaned file. So basically, let's say if their data is also unclean and they have to perform the same steps on the top of their data set as the data sets are same. So in that case, if you also send them this code over here, let me just copy this code and click on done. What they need to do is they just need to go in the new source option, blank query, and go in the advanced editor and just paste this code. So let me just replace this code with the code that I have copied. So after replacing, they just need to click on done. And all the changes would be made to their data set. So this is how you can automate this kind of process also. Now, a thing to notice over here is that let's say if their data is stored somewhere else, they might have to change this part. So again, if I go to the advanced editor, the only thing that they might need to change is this path. Or if you're taking it from online any server, you don't need to change it as well. So this is how you can just pass on this code and you can then make all the necessary changes and you can basically automate this process. Now we'll be talking about some of the basic functions that you can perform in this. And where can you perform this M language functions? So if you go in this date function, now let's say I want to perform some operations on the top of it. For it, what you can do is if you go in this add column option, over here I have this custom columns option. So even while creating a custom column, you can write M language over here. And once you write the M language over here, all the necessary changes would be done on the top of this data set. Now, for example, let's look at some of the functions that are there. So let's first talk about this date is in functions. To use this date is in function, what I'll do is I will go in this Power Query. And over here again, I'll click on custom column. So to use this date is in function, you need to write date. So here I'll write date and you can see that it is giving me the suggestion of this particular M language functions. Now I need to use this date is in functions. For that, you might also need to notice over here that each of the first word is capital. So over here, if I'm talking about this particular function, for date, D is capital, for is I is capital, for in I is capital, again for previous P is capital, and for here Y is capital. And this is the same case with every function that is over here. So it is not just about the date function. Every function that you will be working over here would be following the same type over here. Now I need to use the date is in type. So for example, if I write date is in, so you can see these are the particular functions that are available in that data. So the first is in the date is in previous year. So for example, let me say that I have this order date over here. Now I want to find out that whether this current date belongs to the previous year or not. For that, what you can do is you can select this function. After you have selected this function, you need to pass a value. So if you are new to this, what you can do is you can use this bracket and it would give you the suggestion what exactly you have to do after it. So it is asking me that you have to pass this date time. So right now I know I have this date time column over here. So for that, I will double click on it and I will just close this bracket and click on OK. And it would make a new column for me and it would give me all the values. Right now it is 2024. So that is why it is telling me that this particular date belongs to the previous year. So this value is true and all the other values are false. Now in case, how is this useful? So let's say if you wanted to find the related columns over here and you needed to perform some operations on the top of it. Now I can easily filter this result. For that, I'll click over here and I will only choose the values which are true. This is how you can filter the data. To clear the filter, you can again click over here and you can remove the filter. So I'll choose this clear filter option. Once you have used this function, this is also available for the quarter part, for the month part, week and day. So over here, I've used this previous year. Also, you can use previous quarter, previous month, previous week, and previous day. Now let's use the other one, the current year. Again, I'll go over here, click on the custom functions. I'm sorry, click on the custom columns over here. I will rename the column as current year. Date is in current year. So after choosing this, you have to pass the values. So I will open the bracket. I will pass this particular column, close the bracket and click on OK. And it would then give me the result. So right now, since it is 2024, so it is giving me the value of 2024 as true. Rest of the values are false. So again, if you want to filter it, you can filter it with the help of this. Now, if you go to the advanced editor, so again, I'll go to the home option and I'll choose the advanced editor option over here. You will see that few steps have been added. So over here, you will see that it has added the column. So I went to the add column option. That is why it is telling us that you went to the add column option. And over here, it is referencing to the previous step over here. So again, the previous step was named as added custom. So it is referencing the previous step. Then I use the function of current year. So it is showing me that you have used this function. Now it is writing that particular function for you and the value that you have passed. So this is how it is trying to write the M language in the background. Again, if you need to perform some operation on the top of it, you can just directly do it in the next line. Now, one thing to notice over here is that whenever you are writing a new line of code, every line of code is terminated with the help of comma. So you can see over here, the first line was terminated with the help of comma. The same with the second, third, fourth, and fifth line. For the last line, it is not terminated with the help of comma. Also, whenever you need to find out the output over here, you give it in this in part. So the output would be coming over here in the in part, and whatever changes you are applying would be coming over here in the let part. Then let's see some of other functions also. So we have used this current year. In the same way, you can use current quarter, current month, current week, and current day. Then we have the function of next year, previous year. So let's use this next year and previous years also. So right now it is 2024 and the next year would be 2025. So that's why the value over here should come true if I'm making any new custom column. So for that, what I'll do is I will go in the custom columns option. So go in the add column, custom column. Again, I'll rename the column as next year. Over here, I'll write the function as that date is in next year. So I can find the function over here. Just press tab. Again, open the bracket, put the order date column over here and close this bracket and click on OK. You can see this value is coming as true. Now let's say if you are talking about the previous years or the next upcoming years. So let's say if I'm talking about the previous 2 years, if I want to find out that is that date belonging to 2 years back or is that particular date belonging to 3 years back, in that case, what would I do? So I won't be using date. This date is a next year function. For that case, I have another function. So over here, you can see that we have already used this next year option. Then we have this previous n years option and next 10 years option. So for example, you want to find the previous 2 years value. You will be using this previous n years option. And in place of n, you will be giving the values as 2, 3, whatever values you want to put. And same would be done in the upcoming years. So let's say if you are talking about the upcoming years, that can be 25, 2026. So that all can be found out with the help of this part. So let's look at these options as well. So again, if I go to the Power Query, go to the custom columns option, create the values as 2 year from now. So this would be my column name. You can give any valid name over here because this is very long name. And I write date is in next n years. So over here, I'm having this function. And once you open the bracket, it would ask you that the first value that you need to provide is the date column. And then you need to provide the year as the number. So let's say if I'm talking about the next 2 years, So I need to give the value as 2 over here. If I'm talking about the next 3 years, I need to give the value as 3 over here. So first I'll give this order date column. So double click on this order date, comma, the next 2 years I'm talking about. Close this bracket and click on OK. So you can see this value is coming as true. Now, if I'm talking about the previous years from now, so what I'll do is I'll just roll back these steps. So I'll just click on this cancel over here, and this would remove these columns. Again, I will click on the custom columns option. Now I'll be finding the previous years. So let's say I'm talking about the previous 5 year. In that case, I'll write date is in n previous. Here is the function. I'll just open the bracket again, click on the order date, close this function. First, I need to provide the value. I'm talking about the last 5th year. So I'll provide the value as 5, close this bracket and click on OK. Here you can see all the values belonging to the previous of the 5 years would be shown as true. The rest of the value would be shown as false. Now over here, I'm having some trouble. Now let's talk about the other function, which is the previous n years. So let's say if you want to find out the previous 5 years data from this. So when I'm talking about the previous 5 years, I'm sorry, I made a mistake over there. When I was talking about the next 2 years from now, that would be including the year from now. And if you are talking about the previous 5 years, so it would be like all the years from now. So let's say if you are talking about this year, the previous 5 years can be 24, 23, 22, 21, etc. So in that case, if you need to find out the latest 5 years data, I should say that. So you can go in the custom columns option. I will write the column name as previous 5 years or 5 year data. So for that, I have to write the function over here. Date is in n previous. So I can select the formula from this list. And after selecting, I can press tab. Again, open the bracket, give the column name, comma, how many years of data you want to fetch out of it. So I'll say that I want to fetch the 5 years data out of it, close this bracket and click on OK. And you will see it is giving you the previous 5 year data. So currently all these values are coming as true and rest of the value is coming as false because this data is not very latest. It is very old data. So that's why it is giving the value as false. And the other data which is belonging to the past 5 years is giving as true. Now let's say if you just want to work with the latest records, in that case, what you can do is you can click on this arrow and you can select the value of true and click on OK. So it would be only giving you the data which is the current data. So in this way, you can work with this kind of functions. Now in a similar way, since we have already used this previous n years and the next n years, so you can also use the previous n quarters, next 10 quarters. For the months also we have the same functions. For the weeks also we have the same functions and the days also. Now since our data only contains year, month and day, you can take a data set which contains the quarter and the week, and you can also practice these functions on the top of it. So this is how you use the date is in function in the M language. Now talking about the next function. So next one is adding the date and subtracting the date. So let's say that our data is now containing the days, the months, and the years. Now I want to add some days to it or the quarters to it or months to it. So I'll be using this function of add. So for that, again, I'll go in the Power Query. And over here, what I'll do is I'll clear this filter for now and I'll delete this column. So to delete this column, I can just click on cross over here. Now I want to add some days over here. For that, I will again go in the custom column option and I'll say 2 days, which is basically I'm adding some 2 days to every date over here. For that, again, I'll write the function of date dot add, and it would give me the suggestion that what do you want to add. So here I'm having the function of add days. So I'll click on it. So before clicking, you need to make sure that it should not come out twice. After that, you can open the bracket and then it would ask you in which particular column you want to apply this operation. So I want to apply this operation on the order date. So I'll click on order date and close the bracket and okay, it is giving me some kind of error. So let's try to resolve this error also. Whenever it is giving you any error of this kind, to roll back to that particular advanced editor option or maybe the M language option, what you can do is you can come on the top of that step and use this gear. So after clicking on this gear, it would show you what the function looks like. So it is telling us that date dot add days and how many number of days are required. I have not specified it. So for that, again, I need to edit this. And before closing this bracket, I'll write comma and how many number of days I have to add over here. So I forgot this. So in case if you are getting any kind of error like this, you can click on the settings icon and you can just remove that particular error. So over here, I'll write that I need to add 2 days and then I'll close the bracket and click on OK. So now you can see 2 days have been added to each of the date over here. This date was 1st of December 2014 and then it has become 3rd of December 2014. So this is how you can add number of days to a particular date. Let's say if you want to add some months over here. So what would we do? Again, we would be going in the custom column option. I'll say 1 year added. Over here, I'll write the function of date dot add year. Open the bracket, double click on order date, comma, how many years you want to add. So I want to add 1 year, close the bracket, and then click on OK. You can see 1 year has been added to this particular date. So since this data was belonging to 2014, it has now made the date as 2015. Over here, my date was 2026. It has made it to 2027. Now, what would happen if I add a month to this particular date? So right now, this date is 1st of December 2014. What would happen if I add an additional month over here? Let's see. So again, I will go in the custom columns option. Over here, I'll say 1 month added. Write the function date dot add months. Open the bracket. I'll put this order date over here, comma. I want to add only 1 month and click on OK. Now you can see it has added 1 month to this. Since whenever you add 1 month to this December month, it would become January of next year. That is why the data which was belonging to 2014 has now become the data for 2015. And that is how you can use the add days. Now let's say if you want to subtract this, how would you do? If you wanted to subtract any year from it or month from it or day from it. So there is no specific formula for that. What you need to do is you need to use the minus sign. So I'll show you. Let's say that I would delete this column. So for deleting this column, I can go in the home option and I can use this remove columns option. And again, I'll remove this particular column also. Now, previously we added 2 days over here. Now, let's say if I want to remove the 2 days from all these dates, in that case, what would I do? Again, I will go over here in the add column option, click on custom columns. I'll say 2 days subtracted. Over here, I'll say date dot add day. Open the bracket, put in the column name, comma, I need to subtract 2 days. So I'll write over here -2 and close this bracket and click on OK. Now you can see it has subtracted 2 days from each of the state. And this is how you subtract the days, months, and also the years from any of the column consisting the date. If I again click on this gear symbol, which is basically the setting symbol, you can see I have given the value in terms of negative. So whenever you want to add some days, you have to give the positive values. Whenever you want to subtract the days, you will give the values in negative. So this is how you will add. You are basically using the add days, add months, and add years function. Now, the next one is extracting these day, month, year, or the day of the weeks. So let's say if you want to extract the day, month, or year from your date, what would you do? In that case, again, I have to create a new column over here. To create a new column, first I'll remove these two columns. So I'll go in the homes and I'll choose this remove columns option. Go in the add column option, custom columns. And over here, I'll write date dot day. And I'll pass this order date. Close this bracket and click on OK. And you will see that it has extracted the day out of it. You can rename this column to say day. Now, if you want to extract the month out of it, you will be using the same kind of method. Again, you will go in the custom columns option. And over here, I'll write date dot, open the bracket, click on the order date, close this bracket, write the column name as year, and click on OK. And it would extract the year out of it. If you want to play around with all the date functions that are available over there, what you can do is you can go in the custom column option and you can write date over here. After you have written date over here, you can find all the functions that are related to date. So for example, you need to find out the month name. Over here, I'm having this option of finding the month name. So I'll click over here and it would say date.month name. Just pass in the value of order date, close the bracket. I'm not naming the column for now, or let's just name it month and click on OK. And you can see this particular data was belonging to December. So it is giving me the month name as December. If you want to find out the week name or maybe the day name, basically, so what you can do is you can again create a custom column for that. So again, I write date dot day. So over here, you can find this function of date dot day of the week name. Open the bracket, use this order date, close the bracket and click on OK. You can see on 1st of December 2014, it was Monday. And on the 2nd of December 2026, it would be Wednesday. So I can easily extract the week name out of it. So we were using these functions and where I told you how can you extract the day, how can you extract the month, year, and how can you find out the day of the week name and also the month name. Now let's talk a bit about the text functions. So over here, again, I'll go to my Power Query. To use the text functions, I'll be using a separate table for that. I'll go in this text functions. I have created a new query for over here. And this particular query consists of full names of multiple people. So these are basically the customer names that I have. And all these text are in some different cases. So for example, if you go over here, in John Smith, J is capital and S is capital. That means starting off every word is capital. If you look over here in the Emily Johnson, the first name is in small or is in lower cases. The next name is in the upper cases. In Michael Williams also, M is capital and W is capital. Over here in the Sarah Jones, S is capital, but J is in lowercase. Over here in the James Brown, we have some lowercase and uppercase letters. So looking at this data, you can see that all these values are in some different cases. So what if I want to perform some operation on the top of it and I want to bring them to some same case? What would I basically do? For that, what you can do is, again, you need to go in this custom columns option. So before that, you can see this particular row should be identified at the header. So for that, what I can do is I can go in this home option and I'll use this first row as the header. So I click over here where it says use first row as the header option. After using this first row as the header, now my data is bit clean in the terms of that it is able to identify the header. I have to clean this data now. So for that, again, I'll go in this add column option, click on the custom columns option. Now I need to perform some text operations. So to perform the text operations, what I need to do is I need to write text over here. And all the operations that are related to the text in terms of the end language, you can find out just by writing text over here. So you can see all the operations that are over here. So let me just scroll down. You can see some of the most famous ones. For example, I have this length one, the lower, if you want to extract some middle text over here, or if you want to make it into the proper case, if you want to remove something, if you want to replace something, if you want to split it, if you want to find out where this text start with, and also if you want to trim it, let's say if it is having some spaces over here. So if you want to trim the starting, trim the ending, or if you want to trim down the whole text, it is containing too many spaces, you can use these. So there are multiple functions that are related to text present over here. All you need to do is write text over here. For now, let's say I'm using this text.upper. After using text.upper, I will pass in this full name column and just close this. Click on OK. You can see all the text that was present over here has now came in upper text. If I need to fix it into the lower case, what should I do is, again, I'll go in the custom column option. Right over here, text dot lower. Open the bracket, pass in this full name column, close it, and click on OK. And you can see all this text has been now converted into the lower case. If you want to convert it into the proper case, go to the custom column. Right over here, text dot proper. So you can see I am having this text dot proper over here. Open the bracket, double click on the full name, close the bracket, and click on OK. Now our text is in proper case. So this is how you will be using this M functions whenever you are having any particular data set which is containing text. Also, some of the other ones are the splitting. So let's say if you want to split it based on some delimiter, what would you do? Now, recently we have just created this new column where this is in proper case. And right now I have not given it any name. So let me give it the name as proper. Now a requirement comes in where you want to split this particular column in two parts. The first part should be the full name. The next part should be the last name. What would you do? So in that case, again, you need to go in the custom columns option. Over here, you will write text dot split. So here I'm having this text dot split function. Open the bracket, give in the column name, and click on OK. Now let's say if a new requirement comes in and they want to split this particular column. So this is the column that we have recently created. Now you want to split this column, and based on it, you want to make two columns. The first one is the first name and the next one should be the last name. What would you do? So right now I know this text is separated with the help of space. So space is the delimiter over here. So for that, what I can go do is I can go in the custom columns option. And over here, I'm having this function of text dot after delimiter and text dot before delimiter. So let's say if I'm creating the last name column first. So in that case, I'll be using this text dot after delimiter. I'll open the bracket and pass this newly created column from and click on OK. So you can see it is again giving me the error because I made one mistake. So while I was creating this column, I haven't specified any delimiter over here. So when you will be doing this, you have to specify how is this text separated. So after giving this column name, you can just give comma and you can give the space inside the quotes because it is asking for the delimiter. So that's why you need to provide this space over here. And this space would be provided inside of the quotes. And then you have to close the bracket and click on OK. And you can see it has now extracted this text which is present after the delimiter. If you want to extract the text which is present before the delimiter, what you can do is again you can go in the custom columns option and you can write over here text dot before delimiter. Open the bracket, pass in this column, put comma, and inside quotes I will pass this space from over here. Close the bracket and click on OK. Now you can see it has extracted the last name as well as the first name. And then you can just rename this column as and last name. So this is how you can perform some text operations with the help of this text functions. Now there are much more text functions. So for example, you can see from where does this text start with, end with, the middle of the text. If you want to trim it down, We have already seen the lower and upper and the proper. If you want to replace some values, so you need to specify with what values you need to space. There is this replace function also, split function also, and if you need to combine two text, you can always use this combine option. And if you want to find out whether or not this text contains something or not, you can use this contains options, and it would give you the values in terms of true or false. So this is how you will be using this text functions. Again, if I come to this power query, now let's say if you need the list of all the functions, all the M codes that are present over there, and that can be related to any part, let's say date, or maybe text, or maybe numbers, what would you do? I'll show you an option that how can you extract all the 900 M functions that are present inside Power BI. So for that, what I'll do is I will go in this home option. I will click on the new source and I'll use this blank query option over here. After clicking on blank query, over here, you can write equals to hash shared and press enter. So now you can see it has given us the list of all the M codes that are present inside Power Query. So over here, let's say if you want to learn something about the text function, what you can do is you can click over here and it would tell you what are the text functions that are present over here or what you have applied over here. Now, let me extract the text functions out of it. For that, what you can do is you can see I'm having this convert part over here, and it is asking me that do you want to convert it into a table? So now you can see that it has converted the data in the form of the table. Over here on the top part, I am having this text function, date functions, query 1 and query 2. And this is because I have created 4 queries over here. The rest of these are the M codes. So let's say if I want to find out the M codes related to date, for that what I can do is I can come over here in the same option, click on this arrow and write date over here. After writing this date, you can click on OK, and then you will be able to see all the M functions that are related to date. Now, in order to learn something more about these functions, let's say if you don't know how to use this function. So in that case, what you can do is you can come over here in the blank part where this function is written. You can click over here. And right now I'm looking at date is in current month function. You can just expand it and you can see that it indicates whether the given date time value or the date time occurs during the current month, and it is determined by the current date and the time on the system. So whatever time there would be on the system, it would determine the results based on that. Let's say if you are using this data set after any period of time, let's say if you are using it in the next month. So the values which were true right now may become false because there is this next month. Now, if you don't know how to use this, it is also giving you an example over here. So this is how you will write the M code, and this would be your input, and this is how the output would be coming. So the output would be coming in the terms of true or false. So this is how you can learn about all the M codes that are present over here in the Power Query. There are more than 900. So covering all of them in this particular video is quite too impossible. That's why if you want to learn something more about them, you can directly click over here in the filters and you can filter any M code based on your need. So I'll remove this filter for now. Let's say if I want to learn something more about the text one, I will click over here, type text over here. So all the functions that are related to text would be shown to me. And that is how you filter the result. So let's say if you want to convert it from date to text, you can click over here and you can find the syntax over here. And also, what is this function related to? So here I'm having the definition for it. So this is how you are using the M codes in the advanced editor and whenever you are using this custom columns. I hope this session was easy to understand. If not, you can always rewatch this video because this is a very long video and you can use these two data sets in order to just perform these operations on the top of it. Thank you.